Hello, my friends. I am so glad to be back. We are going to be following the Karen Reed trial. Just like we had last year, we did a lot of body language analysis on some of the witnesses, and this is what we're going to do again. So, tonight we're going to take a look at the first witness, Timothy Nuttall. What did you guys think about day one? We have been anticipating this trial, the trial that keeps on giving. There's so many layers, and if you don't know anything about the Karen Reed trial, you are in for a ride. There's a lot of information, a lot of different opinions, and I am going to try my best to keep an open mind this time. So I just want to say that although we do look at body language, facial expressions, general behavior, and there are some concepts that are widely known and accepted worldwide, everybody is different and we are all individuals with different personality traits and quirks. So nothing I say here is a fact. It's all for entertainment purposes, okay? And Timothy Nuttall is a firefighter. He's a hero. He's out there on the trenches saving lives every day. So I think that also it's important to remember that whenever people are under any type of stressful situation, such as testifying in court, we're going to see a lot of anxiety, nervousness, worry, because that's just normal. So I don't want to talk for too long. Let's get started. We have a little video here to get us starting, and then we'll make some comments. Here we go.
Phone down a little bit closer to you, please.
Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am. Excuse me.
All right.
I hit him. I hit him. I hit him.
How clearly do you remember her words saying to you, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him?
I remember it very distinctly.
Saw that person and asked about any background. What did she say to you?
I hit him. I hit him. I hit him.
How clearly do you remember her words saying to you, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him?
I remember it very distinctly.
You've been to a lot of calls over the years and since.
Yes, sir.
Would you say hundreds or thousands?
Thousands.
Do you remember all of them?
I remember aspects of various calls, but not all of them, no.
Do some stand out more than others?
Yes, sir.
Did this particular moment stand out more as compared to your typical or most calls that you've been to?
It did, just because of the setting. I mean, it was the weather, it was the unknown factors, and it was the attempting to try and get information and not really being able to glean anything from that.
Okay, so let me just read this for you guys. So these are some of the faces, the micro expressions that we could see on Timothy's face before he talked about this statement. Right before the question, he knew the question was coming. He does a lip compression, which a lot of times means that we're suppressing information, trouble is coming. The tongue jut, I got away with something, or somebody caught me on something. So those are the expressions he makes right before he says it. And then afterwards, after he says, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, then he closes his eyes. He takes a deep breath. Closing our eyes a lot of times mean just like it's natural, right? When we don't want to see something or we don't want to hear something, I'm watching a horror movie, I'm going to like cover my eyes. I don't want to see it. So for some reason, when he says that, oh, she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, he closes his eyes, which is not something typical from his normal body language. So that's why it's something that I point out here. And it could also be emotional reaction. Eye closure can sometimes be physical manifestation, like trying to suppress a feeling or hiding a memory that the conversation has triggered. This could be as if he's telling the truth, right? If he really heard Karen say, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him 3 times. It could simply be that he knows how contentious this phrase is and how he's going to be picked apart for saying that, and he just doesn't want to see it. He just doesn't want to deal with it. So it could be as simple as that, or it could be that it's triggering a memory that maybe like he's not comfortable with, and he's not comfortable with what he said. Okay, so it could be either or. Let me just move my face here so that you guys can see the part on the bottom where it says that sometimes, okay, closing eyes after a statement can be a sign that the person is uncomfortable with what was said and disagrees with it. So there are two options. Either he's just uncomfortable because he doesn't really believe what he's saying, or he doesn't remember exactly those words, or he's trying to suppress a feeling. He's just uncomfortable being there on this conversation again and again and again. Okay, so let's keep going. So now we're gonna watch the whole thing in slow motion.
Mr. Jackson. Or next, Mr. Jackson.
He's just identifying Karen Reed, okay?
When you looked up and saw that person and asked about any background, what did she say to you?
I hit him.
Clear his throat, deep breath, and close
How
his eyes.
clearly do you remember her words saying to you, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him?
I remember it very distinctly.
So now both his body and his
Please stop the video.
both his body and his lips are saying the same thing.
Mr. Nuttall,
I
do you see
remember
the red
this
lights
vividly.
reflecting on the left?
Yes.
So okay, so now we're gonna watch for the first time. This is during the direct examination, the video, which is a terrible video to like understand what's going on. But I did make some notes here. Hopefully we can
Sir,
identify.
Do you know what those red lights are?
Presumably those would be ambulance 1.
Yeah, so not what you presume. Do you know what they asked her?
And those are the lights for ambulance 1.
Do you see the weather conditions as it's depicted on this video?
Yes, sir.
Oh, as you stood outside, was it same or different to how it appears on this video?
That is the same.
If you look to the left of the screen,
Yep.
you'll see a straight item from the bottom halfway up the picture. Do you know what that item is on
I believe
the video?
that's a flagpole, sir.
Do you see a little bit of movement of bodies near that flagpole?
At the present time, no.
Okay. Could we continue to play, please?
Yep, there they are.
Keep going, please. Do you know who that person is?
I believe that's me, sir.
Okay. Could you please continue? Is this your first assessment?
Yes, sir. This is ascertaining any signs of life or breathing.
Is that you approaching?
Yes, sir.
So it looks like he said something to Karen. It doesn't look like she said something to him right there, right? When he approached her, he said something and then she walks away. Let me just go back a little bit. Look, he approaches the ladies and then he says something and then she walks away like terrified.
Could you stop, please? After informing you return, is that after Firefighter Flamati called you?
So right after that, when I turned around, that was when Tony said, "Hey, we're working this."
Okay. Please continue. Stop, please. And do you see a person come over to where you are?
Yes, sir.
Is it at that point or another moment when the defendant said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him?
It was right there, sir.
Could you continue, please? Could you stop for a moment? Sir, are you still at the flagpole?
Yes, sir. I'm kneeling at the head of the patient.
Okay, so that was just a little bit of the direct examination, just so we can get a little context before we get to the cross examination where the fire happens. So, anyways, how did you guys think everything went? Honestly, how did we think everything went? I'm still going to go over the opening statements on another video, but I think that this trial is going to be extremely different from the first trial. I think that the prosecution actually came in with with a much better plan by putting on this witness and then calling Carrie Roberts, which was a very likable witness the last time. She was very matter of fact, serious, emotional about her friend, and this witness Timothy, who is a respected firefighter. And he's the one that is coming in with the powerful statements that are very damning for Karen Reed. What I thought was the worst thing possible for Karen Reed today was her actual statement. I don't know if everybody's saying that. I haven't watched anybody else because I was working on this video all day. But the fact that she made those statements is not going to be good for her. Okay, so we have to think about being on the jury and trying to be as neutral as possible. They were questioned. They questioned them, do you have any biases? Do you know anything about this trial? And they're like, no, or maybe we do know, but we don't have any bias. It doesn't matter. We just want to see the evidence presented to us. And if you're sitting there and the defendant is saying on video, I hit him, I hit him. I don't know if I know I said it, but how many times I said it? That is not a good point of evidence for the defense. Another thing I'm going to point out, two negative things I'm going to point out right away for Karen Reed's team, who, by the way, I support. And last year I was supportive all the way because I believe the prosecution did a terrible job last year. And there was definitely no way that I could convict somebody to life in prison, possibility of life in prison with the case that they presented last year. But this year, what I'll say is for Karen to please be mindful of her facial expressions because she comes off very angry. And I know this has been a journey. This has been a battle for a long time. I cannot even put myself in her shoes. I know that I would probably be freaking out, crying the whole time. I wouldn't even be able to show up. I don't know. I'm not trying to judge. I'm just saying everybody's watching. The jury is watching. And when she's looking at people like angry with chin jut, aggression moves, I don't know how the jury is going to feel about that. And the other person that has the aggressive side is Alan Jackson, who I love, by the way. Last year I was like, couldn't wait for all his cross examinations. I think he's very powerful. However, I do think that they were very personally involved in this trial, and some things are becoming like personal. I'll give you an example. In the beginning of the cross examination with Timothy Nuttall, Alan is going to start normal. Oh, so good to see you again, Mr. Nuttall, blah, blah, blah. As soon as Timothy says he's going to slip, I don't think he did it on purpose the first time. Later, he's going to do it on purpose. But he was like, no, that's not what happened. And she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. So without anybody asking him, he just put it out there for Alan Jackson. And Alan Jackson starts getting mad. And then he raises his voice and he starts being really aggressive. And when you're being really aggressive with a firefighter who is super likable, who is a hero, whose father was a firefighter and who's just there serving the community, he's trying his best. He doesn't seem deceiving at all. Even though he was inconsistent, I think he still came off a likable witness. So Alan Jackson has to be careful about that, in my opinion. And I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So let's start with a little bit of the cross-examination here and see how we go. Maybe I'll just take myself off for now. Let's see.
We did go over the testimony from last year. Yes, sir.
Were there any issues concerning any of your testimony?
There was just a question of how many times the I hit him came up. It was 3 times.
Oh no.
It was 3 times.
Oh no. Oh no, 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 no.
Shouldn't have
And
said
were
that.
you advised that that's not what you said at your testimony last year? Said it
No,
two
sir.
times?
What was that? I honestly can't recall, sir.
Okay, but you just saw that, or you just read that and went over that 3 weeks ago.
I believe so, sir. Yeah.
But you can't remember, as you sit here today, just 3 weeks ago, what y'all discussed in terms of how many times you previously testified that you heard the phrase, I hit him.
So we previously testified possibly to 2, but it was 3.
Okay, your memory is clearer now than it was, for instance, a year ago when you testified.
Repeat that?
Sure, your memory is clearer now, as you sit here, that it was 3 times you heard that, than it was a year ago when you testified that it was 2 times.
Yes, sir.
Okay, does your memory get better with time generally? Your memory, I'm not talking about the royal you, I'm talking about you.
In certain settings, I mean, there are certain things about different aspects that I recall better than others.
Okay, and does your memory tend to get better or does it fade over time? That's my question.
It can fade over time, but it depends on the context.
But in this case, you're telling this jury that your memory is better now than it was a year ago when you testified about the exact same circumstance, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So you
Jurors,
see, okay, so his faces are like, I'm confused. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand what you're asking me, because it seems like, so it's definitely a tricky question, right? Alan wants to point out to the jury that as time goes by, our memory fades. Okay, but this guy is not picking up on what Alan's putting down. So he's just trying his best to answer, but he doesn't look like he's being a smart ass. He doesn't look like he's being deceiving. He's just like, okay, and then he looks at the juror like, I don't know what he wants. Like, I'm just trying to answer him. So I don't know how that's going for Alan so far, because as soon as this guy volunteered, I hit him in the beginning, Alan got personally, like, he got mad, he got mad and he started being very aggressive to him. I understand there's going to be some impeachment that Alan is going to impeach him with towards the end. But I personally wouldn't be a fan of this approach from the beginning with a firefighter. I think Alan came in too aggressive and it's not likable, okay? Because we usually like firefighters. We usually think they're, out there doing the job that is really heroic, putting their lives in danger. And I don't know how. Tell me what you guys thought of this cross-examination, the beginning. What do you guys think? Do you think he came in hot and he had to? Or do you think he could have been a little bit more polite with the firefighter? Let's go.
3 times that I heard it.
That was what I heard.
Okay. Did you tell him that's what you were going to say today?
No, sir.
You didn't?
I told him I was going to tell him what I remembered from that morning.
Which was what?
I hit him.
Which is how many times?
3 times, sir.
And that's
He's gonna
inconsistent with
repeat
what?
so many
I
times.
believe a year ago.
Okay. Now, you
Okay,
also talked
go
about,
wait a
let's get back to another
second.
thing that you talked about. You said
One question for you guys as well, okay? Do you think that's inconsistent? Because consistency is like, okay, this is consistent with this. Like, it's not exactly the same, but it's kind of the same way. It's consistent with. When he said last year, I hit him. Okay, so this year he added, I hit him. So it's I hit him. So to me, that's not inconsistent. It's just different because he forgot to add one, and he could have answered in a better way as well. He could have said, you know what? I don't know. I don't know where my mind was at. But anything, it's already not looking good for anybody here. In my opinion, it's not looking good for anybody. Let's keep going.
that at some point, either in the... I hit him.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
See, he keeps looking at them like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, what does he want from me? And I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so here are some of the points Jackson's going to make. He's going to make the
wind was
point
howling.
about the winter
It was
coat.
snowing. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you testified that John O'Keefe, quote, had a heavy coat on and possibly 2 other layers of clothing.
Yes, sir.
In April 2024, you reiterated your very specific memory of and you even called it a puffy heavy coat that he was wearing, which was then removed so that you could assess his injuries, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Not to get too colloquial, but a puffy coat is like, it's got down and stuff in it, right?
Correct.
Looks kind of like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Pretty distinctive article of clothing.
Yep.
And you testified last year that Mr. O'Keefe was wearing that clothing, which you had to remove or somebody had to remove in order for him to be properly assessed.
I did testify that way. Yes, sir.
Okay. And you mentioned that your memory of that big heavy winter coat was as clear as your memory of other specifics in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
I asked you that exact question, didn't I?
You did.
And I said, your memory of him having that big puffy coat on, which stood out in your mind, was just as clear as the other specifics that you've testified to about the case.
Yes, sir.
About that night. And it turns out you were completely wrong about his clothing, correct?
Correct.
Matter of fact, he wasn't wearing a coat at all.
No, sir.
He wasn't wearing a winter coat, correct?
Nope.
He wasn't wearing a heavy winter coat. correct?
Correct.
And he wasn't wearing a puffy, heavy winter coat.
He was not.
Yet you testified that he was wearing all of that, and that was clear in your mind at the time.
Yes, sir.
Did Mr. Brenan bring that up during the meeting 3 weeks ago?
He asked about what I had meant when I said appropriately dressed.
So you did talk about something other than just,
Okay, relax.
I hit him, correct?
Yes, sir.
When I asked what y'all talked about, why didn't you tell us that?
To be perfectly honest, sir, I did not remember until right now.
So your memory is fading even after 3 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Got it.
See, to me, it sounds
The fact
more
that-
like he's being a smart ass, and I don't love that tone. I don't love that tone. I love Alan Jackson. I am rooting for them. But personally speaking, from behavioral analysis and, you know, how people feel, and because think about it, okay? Even if we don't know anything about body language, about facial expressions, we're not paying attention. Every time we have an interaction with another human being, we're left with a certain feeling. We're like, oh, that was a great conversation, or, oh, I felt a little uncomfortable with that person. Oh, they gave me a weird feeling. And the jury is going to leave this interaction between Alan and Timothy with a feeling. They're not going to remember every single fact. They're not going to remember every single thing. And they're not going to know the power of impeachment. Like Alan's going to say, okay, you said he was wearing a winter coat, but he was not wearing a winter coat, right? Right. You said twice I hit him. Now you said 3 times. Right. Right. Okay. But the jury is, I think if I was sitting there, that I would be like, wow, stop being mean and aggressive to this guy. Like, just be normal. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me, please. Tell me what you think, because I feel bad for the firefighter, even though he is being impeached. I kind of feel bad for the tone.
Well, let me ask you a different question. Did Mr. Brenan tell you what Mr. O'Keefe was actually wearing
No, sir. Actually, I believe you did.
last year, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Oh.
It's a short sleeve T-shirt and a little thin wool hoodie, right?
Yes, sir.
Testifying, objection. Was that the judge? No, that was just Alan Jackson. Okay, so here's the other point that Alan Jackson wants
Some
to
injury to-
make. He wants to make a point of the injury. Is it possible it was a fight? Is it consistent with? So now let's
His
see how
eyes,
that
they
works.
looked blackened,
Yes, sir.
but primarily the right eye was blackened.
Yep.
And there was a golf ball size egg, I think you put it over his right eye,
It did.
often called a hematoma.
Correct.
And you also noted when you got his shirt off that he had scratches along the right side of his arm. Is that right?
Sir.
And what did the scratches look like?
They were deep, infamously referred to them as furrows, but they were quite deep. You could tell that there had been some material removed.
Okay. Material meaning skin and flesh.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Some biological material.
Mhm.
Is that yes?
Yes, sir.
And were they parallel? Meaning they were going in the same direction?
Yes,
Were there any scratches below the elbow as
there
well?
were. Yes, there were. They were not as significant as the ones on the upper arm, but they were noted.
Okay. And those were parallel as well?
Yes, sir.
And they looked like scratches to you. That's how you described them.
They did.
But what you did was you did this motion.
Yes, sir.
As you said, there were furrows. And remember, there was an embarrassing moment for me.
Both of us, sir.
I couldn't understand the word furrow because of the accent, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Oh, finally, there was a light moment. That's good. See, that's what we want to see. We all want to feel comfortable. And when we see that you guys are like softening up a little bit, we feel more comfortable.
Talk a little bit about the hematoma above the right eye for a second. That's basically damage to subdural blood vessels that causes acute swelling, right?
Correct.
And a very common
Everybody's
cause of a
gonna sight now,
hematoma
the
over one's
microphone.
eye could be being hit or punched in the face. We talked about that.
There could be several causes for hematoma, such as that.
Obviously. I mean, it could be a golf club, a baseball bat, or it could be a fist.
It could be.
Okay. We talked about that last year. I asked you if the injuries that you saw on Mr. O'Keefe's face, including the laceration over his right eye, was consistent or inconsistent with a physical altercation, and you said it was consistent with a physical altercation as well.
Objection to the
Excuse me?
objection to referring to past testimony before a question is asked.
Speaking
So
of
sustained.
objection is not
Sure.
allowed, Mr. Brenan. Okay, so now they go, oh, he's so nervous. He's like,
Sure,
like
O'Keefe.
I need oxygen.
He was
Take this guy out
he's
of here.
being punched in the face, can that lead to a small laceration like you saw and a hematoma like you saw?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
Uh,
Can you answer that question?
I couldn't speak to how that injury occurred.
Is it consistent? Are those injuries, just those injuries, are those consistent with being punched in the face?
Those injuries could be sustained from numerous ways.
And I
Yes, it could be from that. It could be from others as
Yeah.
well.
Okay, so that's what
But that's where I think that Timothy could have done better. Okay, because when you're direct and you're just telling the truth, people will watch and they will make their own conclusions. You don't have to like try hard. And I know he has been under scrutiny as well because he testified on the first trial. And imagine that all of a sudden he's public, everybody's talking about him, you know, everybody's making comments, calling him this, calling him that. And he's nervous. He wants to convey the message. So he's trying too hard. He's trying to explain himself too much. And the answer is simple. Could it be consistent with a physical altercation? Yes. Yes. A hematoma, all of that, the laceration could be consistent with physical altercation. When you are just direct like that, people tend to believe you more.
I'm asking. It could be. In other words, it's consistent
Yes,
with
sir.
being punched in the face, correct? Thank you.
He's like, all right, what do you want from me? He's not liking this at all. He's like, yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like it's us out there. So, okay, so now we're going to continue the cross-examination here from YouTube. Let me just put the video just to get to the end where Jackson and Brenan are going to recross, and see what we think.
Correct.
Sort of reflective in safety jacket.
Yes, sir.
And he was kneeling to your left at the time doing, am I right?
Yeah, you got that right.
Okay, he's kneeling to your left at the time doing chest compressions. That's when you indicate that Ms. Reed.
Wait a
walked over
second. I want to
and made a
make sure
statement.
the audio is working for some reason. Let me see something here real quick because I have a feeling the audio is not going. One thing. Okay, let me roll my intro while you guys are waiting for me to fix the audio here real quick. Hey there, and welcome to BiancaMMM. Here we dive into the mind, meditations, and motivation. Trial season is here, and we're shining a light on the behavior and psychology of the defendants, witnesses, attorneys, and even judges.
I'll allow it as to the investigation.
What are they thinking, feeling, and what is their body language telling us? If you're new, we're so glad you found us, and if you are already a member, welcome back. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop a comment. It helps more than you know. Thank you so much for being here, and let's. Okay, so now we're back. We're back, and I'm still fixing the sound. I just have to make sure real quick that Google Chrome is with my microphone. Here we go. Okay, now it should be good to go. Let me try again. Let's see.
And Kelly was there as well.
Perfect.
Yes, sir. Kneeling right
There you
beside
go.
all three of you as Firefighter Timothy was giving the chest compressions, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You indicated that the statement was in response to a question that you asked of my client, do you know him?
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Correct.
And she responded to you with the phrase that you've used, I hit him.
I hit him.
Right.
He's going to repeat
So it's
that
absolutely clear in your mind
several
when that statement was
times.
made. You were knelt down over Mr. O'Keefe. Firefighter Flamati was doing the CPR, and Kelly was with both of you when you posed that question.
Yes, sir.
It's a very detailed memory.
Yes, sir.
You indicated Mr. Brenan. That sticks out in your mind. Is that right?
It does.
But that's not at all what you told Trooper Proctor on February 8th, just 10
Trooper
days after this incident.
Proctor.
I don't recall what I told Trooper Proctor.
I thought your memory got better with time.
I don't recall that meeting.
Okay.
I recall meeting with him, but I don't recall the extent of what was discussed.
You literally don't recall anything that was discussed in that meeting in that formal interview with the lead detective on this case.
We discussed the case, but I don't, in his words, I'm not sure what he put down.
What you said to Trooper Proctor on February 8th, 10 days after this, was you overheard Ms. Reed say, I hit him one time to another female that she was talking to, correct?
Objection.
No, I'll allow it. Did you say that?
I have no memory of this, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
Wow.
Did you say that her statement was in answer to a question posed by the female or a discussion with the female?
Break that down for me, sir.
Sure. Did you tell Trooper Proctor on February 8th that what you heard was Karen Reed speaking to a female, not answering a question that you posed?
Again, I don't recall that specific question.
Did you tell Trooper Proctor on February 8th while you were rendering aid, and at the time you heard the statement, Miss Reed was actually praying over John? Your words, praying over John.
I don't recall ever saying that.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe him there because he's totally baffled. As Alan is asking the question, do you believe she was praying over? Immediately, his face goes like I have no recollection of that.
Did you say that you observed Karen Reed to have blood on her face from providing mouth-to-mouth breaths to Mr. O'Keefe prior to your arrival?
I remember Miss Reed having blood on her face, presumably from attempting CPR.
Do you remember telling Trooper Proctor on February 8th that you saw her with blood on her face from CPR?
Yes, I
do.
think I remember that.
So you remember that portion of your conversation with Trooper Proctor, correct?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
But the praying over John, praying over the victim, you don't remember.
I don't remember ever saying that.
And
Ever.
and the statement, I hit him to another female, you also don't remember that.
No, sir.
Would it refresh your recollection if you were to look at a report
Yes, sir.
offered by Trooper Proctor? May I?
Yes.
So this is Trooper Proctor's report. We can't trust anything Trooper Proctor does because he's the worst. He's the worst trooper.
May I direct the witness's attention to the second page, Your Honor?
All right. Why don't you take a look at that? Sir?
He seems baffled still. So
May I approach,
confused.
Your Honor?
Yes.
So did you have an opportunity to glance at the report that you were just shown?
Yes, sir.
Does that refresh your recollection about your conversation with Trooper Proctor that he put in a report?
It does not, sir.
So as you sit here, you have no memory of what you just read in this report from Trooper Proctor, the lead investigator on the case.
I have no recollection of ever saying that anybody prayed over anybody ever in this case.
You did see it in this report, though.
Sustained.
You've admitted under oath that your memory of the events at that time, from that time frame, January, February 2022, is faulty, correct?
No, sir.
In your April 2024, it's April 30th, 2024 testimony from last year,
He did say that last
you
year.
were asked whether or not your memory was a little faulty, and your answer was absolutely, correct?
Could I have a page and number,
Where is
please?
that, Mr. Jackson?
Volume 8,
He did say that.
page 151, lines 14 through 16.
You can blind again.
Lines 14 through 16. I'll just allow counsel to get that up.
If we could pose the entire question and give content to it, please.
Okay.
May I?
Yeah. So do you intend to show the whole question?
The whole question that I asked and his answer, yes.
Everybody's
I'll give you the opportunity
behaving.
of
The
reject.
judge's behaving. Brennan's behaving.
Is it true that in answer to the question, quote, so it's fair to say your memory is a little bit faulty as it pertains to that time frame? Your answer was absolutely, correct?
From last year?
What you testified to last year about conversations that you had with Trooper Proctor around February 8th of 2022.
Yes, sir.
And you agree, as you sit here, that your memory is still faulty about your conversation with him,
With
correct?
Trooper Proctor? Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So you're not saying you didn't say that the statement was made to a woman, correct?
Objection.
Are you saying that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next question.
Thank you. And you're also not saying that you didn't say to Trooper Proctor that you saw Karen Reed praying over John O'Keefe.
Objection.
So I'd like you to ask that differently. Did you say that?
I have no recollection of saying that ever.
Next question.
My point is, if you have no recollection of it, you're not denying saying it.
Objection.
Are you denying saying it?
Yes.
So you do have a recollection that you never said it. Do you understand the difference?
Oh, sir, I
It's so
don't believe I've ever said
argumentative.
praying. That's really not something that I would have said. I didn't see it that day. It didn't happen. I don't remember ever saying prayed
You
in
didn't see
regards
it
to this
that,
case ever.
you didn't see it that day, and it never happened. That was your words just now, correct?
Yes, that's
Break
what he
that down for
said.
You didn't see it that day.
It never
and it
happened.
That's what you're saying about the praying statement,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And in that same exact statement, you also included the phrase, I hit him, correct?
No, sir.
In the statement that you made to Trooper Proctor,
The report that Trooper Proctor wrote?
correct?
Again, I don't remember ever saying the words praying over him. I do distinctly remember I hit him.
Which doesn't appear in that report, does it?
Objection.
I'm going to sustain that, Mr. Jackson. You directed him only to page 2.
Understood, Your Honor. I'd like to show you a short portion of a video, the same video that you were asked to look at on direct examination. And,
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm
Okay,
report,
so
I can
hold
sort of
on. Let
mark
me
it,
just pause here
as
real
a
quick.
Defense exhibit or for
So is this
identification.
going
Because
to be
I
an
want to point out, okay, now I did say that the defense was being aggressive. I said that, So now I do want to point out what the defense has gotten correct so far as the impeachment with this witness. Okay. So, number one, they are impeaching him on the fact that the last time he testified, he said Karen Reed told him, I hit him twice. Okay. Now he's changing his story. He's saying she said it 3 times. So that's first impeachment. Second impeachment, Timothy Nuttall also said that John O'Keefe, the victim, was wearing a big, puffy winter coat. So Alan says that is completely wrong. Correct? Correct. So that's the second impeachment, second time that the witness is wrong. So that does not look good for him. The other thing that he's going to say is that his memory is better now than at the time, than a year before, than right after the incident. So that is not consistent with reality because we all know that our memories fade, right? So he's saying, is your memory better now than before? Yes. And then he's like, okay. And then later he can't remember something. So Alan says, oh, so your memory is fading, correct? Kind of like sarcastic, which I don't love, but anyways. So that's another thing he's impeaching Timothy on. The other thing is that Alan asked him, is a laceration hematoma consistent with a physical altercation? And Timothy says, I can't answer that. But the last time he did answer it, he said, yes, it is consistent because there is nothing wrong with saying a hematoma is consistent. The other thing that he's impeaching him with is that Proctor's report apparently says that Timothy Nuttall said Karen Reed was praying over John. And Timothy's saying, no, that's not something I would even say. I wouldn't even notice that. That's not, I didn't do that. So another thing that Alan's going to impeach him on is, did you admit that your memory was faulty last time you testified? He's like, no. And then Jackson shows him the report and he's like, oh, okay. He said, is your memory faulty? Absolutely. So another impeachment. The I hit him is not on Proctor's report. So that is a big, big problem they had with this first trial and now. And the biggest impeachment is going to be on the video where he says, didn't you say that Karen Reed said, I hit him, or twice or 3 times, whatever you're saying now, when you and Flamati were on your knees giving CPR? Because we saw the video, we saw him arrive, we saw him get on his knees, and she was nowhere there. So when did she say it? Like, oh, she said it another time. So you're wrong. So he was wrong a lot. Okay. Overall, I thought he's a likable witness. And, I don't know if I love the aggression from Alan, but a lot of people, I was reading the comments. Here's one. Coffee Cake saying he was such a liar. He never even wrote that in a report. If it wasn't in a report, it did not happen. That's usually what they all testify, right? When you are questioning a police officer or anybody in that field, you're going to say it's important to have facts. Correct. Facts are what you write in the report. Your report has to be correct, right? It's important for you to make sure you have all the facts on your report. Yeah, because if it's not on your report, it never happened. Correct. Okay. So why is it not on your report? Exactly. None of them have it on their report. So that is very suspicious. But I have a question. Why in the world would this guy be lying in this trial? What does he benefit from lying in this trial? I mean, he's a firefighter, EMT. He seems to be smart and, to do his own thing. I don't understand his motive for lying. So that, to me, I don't know if the jury would have that question. That's my thing. I don't know if the jury will be like, okay, but why would he lie though? Like, I don't understand. But anyway, so let's go back here to the cross-examination, see what else we have.
Exhibit by agreement.
It is.
Okay, so we now that, Madam Court Reporter, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. With the court's permission, may I play a portion of that video for the jurors? Publish it.
Okay.
Let's
Portion
see.
so people know.
I'm going to start it at about, I want to say 6:55. Mr. Wall, could you cue that up? Before you play it, can we have it on that screen as well, or is it only playing to this screen?
I don't know. And Ms. Gilman did it. It was both. Great.
There we go. All right. Before we play it, can I ask you a quick question about this?
Sure.
It appears that this is paused. Do you recognize this as being the same video that you were shown this morning by Mr. Brenan?
I do.
All right. Describe the scene.
So that is 34 Fairview Road. The lights in the background, I believe it is either right as we pulled up or right as we're pulling up.
Okay. Same dash cam video.
Yes, sir.
Can we scroll this to the 6:55 runtime spot, please? Pause it. Okay. Do you see the individual on the left? Far, far, far left.
Yeah, the jacket?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Who's that?
I believe that's Firefighter Timothy.
You previously indicated that when you heard Ms. Reed make this statement, the firefighter Flamati was on his knees providing CPR at the same time you were knelt down providing the airway.
This isn't when it was
That's not my
stated.
question. Is that what you said?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. You indicated earlier when you heard this statement by my client, you're very detailed. Firefighter Flamati was knelt down providing chest compressions at the same time you were knelt down providing airway support for Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
I had also said that at some point,
That's a
Firefighter
yes or no
Timothy
question.
So I'm going to let the witness answer the question.
had transferred CPR to Firefighter Kelly. Firefighter Kelly did take over compressions at one point.
Okay. That's not my question.
Okay.
My question's an easy one. Did you say that when Ms. Reed walked over to you and you had this dialogue with her, she made that statement, that firefighter Flamati was on his knees providing chest compressions at the same time you were knelt down providing airway support?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Firefighter Flamati, your testimony appears to be standing up right there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Let's play the video forward for just a second. Stop it. What did you see Firefighter Flamati do just now?
I believe he just knelt down.
Okay. So at this point, he's kneeling for the first time, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he's about to provide chest compressions as your memory serves, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go ahead and play it forward. Pause. Did you see my client in that photo? I mean, sorry, in that clip?
No, sir.
You didn't see her?
Oh, no, I did see her. Yeah. I don't see her on right now.
Right. She just walked off frame, correct?
Sure.
Let's go ahead and play it forward. Stop it. You see my client walk back into the frame?
Yes, sir.
At this point, you were watching Firefighter Flamati. He appears to be now providing CPR, correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. And my client is nowhere near you, correct? At least for this clip.
No, sir.
Okay.
Correct.
And the clip that I just played before, the few seconds that I played before, nowhere near you, correct? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead and play forward.
Karen's just walking back and forth, back and forth. I think that's Jennifer McCabe or Carrie trying to hug her. All right. She's just so lost. I mean, that's a terrible scene. And there they are with
Pause,
the
What do you see happening on the screen from screen right to screen left at this juncture?
We're bringing in the stretcher.
Okay. go ahead and
stretcher. That's the word. Okay.
Pause it. Do you see where my client is right now?
Can you back it up 2 seconds? I'm sorry. I lost
With
view.
the court's permission, I need to ask the
Yes.
court's permission. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and play. Pause. Did you see my client?
Yes, sir.
Where is she? In frame?
Behind that other individual.
Behind the SUV?
I
Coffee
believe she's in
Cake
front of
does
the SUV
not
and
buy
behind the other individual.
anything.
I'm at the SUV. That's the white SUV. That's
Doesn't believe
Yes, sir.
anything
if you're part of it.
Timothy's
Yes,
putting
that's the back
down.
of the SUV. She's behind it, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Not near you.
No.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play it. Go ahead and pause it. Do you see what Firefighter Flamati is still doing throughout this entire clip?
Chest compressions?
Okay, let's go ahead and play it. Pause. What's happening now?
Where Mr. O'Keefe's on the scoop stretcher and he's being transferred to the ambulance stretcher.
So that's the entire time Mr. Flamati, Firefighter Flamati, was getting chest compressions. It's captured right here on this video, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now Mr. O'Keefe is up on the stretcher, and you are no longer knelt down,
No, sir.
and Firefighter Flamati is no longer knelt down,
No, sir.
and you're now following the stretcher with, it looks like, 2 or 3 other EMTs, correct?
I am not in that frame, sir.
Okay, so you've walked away.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go ahead and play it forward. Pause it. You see where my client is?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and play it. Do you see Firefighter Flamati or Firefighter Kelly continuing to give chest compressions?
Yes, sir.
Which one is that? Do you know?
Believe it's Firefighter Flamati.
Flamati?
Believe so.
Okay, so he's
Wow.
still doing all the chest compressions from start to finish.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what's happening right now?
Now we are transferring to ambulance 1.
And where's my client?
Right front center.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Apparently, everybody thinks he's sketchy and a liar. I'm the only one that was like, oh, he seems likable. So Kelly saying he was so sketchy. Why is Karen's the only one freaking out? That's true. That's true. Well, Jennifer McCabe says that she's calm and under pressure. We'll see. And Coffee Cake say, where is Carrie yelling? I hit him. I had on my head. Where is that? I so wish we could have jury watches like we did the Johnny Depp trial. Yeah, because it's probably really hard to find jury for this trial. I mean, people probably all heard about this case. Even people here, I mean, Florida, even people in Florida are talking about this case. So it must be really, really tough. So the whole point of Alan Jackson doing this is because Timothy says that when he was kneeled down, giving CPR along with Flammati, that's when Karen approached him and said the famous words. But Alan is saying, we just watched him arrive, give CPR, get on his knees, get up, put him on the stretcher, continue giving him CPR. And she was not there. Like, she did not approach him. So when and he's gonna say, but that's not when she said it. But then she didn't say when you guys were on your knees. So which one is it, sir? Let me see if this is a break. Why is it taking so long? Oh, here we go. Brenan is gonna get up.
If I may have just a second.
Look at this guy. He's looking at Jackson like, sir, can you hurry up? I got things to do today.
With regard, just a couple more questions with court's permission. I'm going to change gears. With regard to what you talked about on direct examination, the hypothermic conditions, you're not a medical doctor, correct?
No, sir.
You don't diagnose patients?
Sir.
You're not diagnosing that John O'Keefe suffered from hypothermia that night?
No, sir.
Thank you. That's all I have.
I agree with you, Kelly Kel. I know some people like it, but I like a clean face better. I don't know. Man likes to change it up, so
Firefighter Nuttall,
let them.
the video the defense just showed you, did you notice any differences between that video and when I showed it to you, and that it doesn't have the time on it?
He's giving
Yes,
everybody the eyes.
those were two different time frames on that
Look,
video.
and he's like looking at Brenan.
And when we spoke about when the defendant said to you, I hit him, that wasn't shown to you in that video just now, was it?
No, it was not.
So if we go back,
Now Brennan's coming in very aggressively. Remember, all the way up to this point, he was being calm and collected. But now he's like, oh, Alan's going to be aggressive. I'll
will you be
show
able to
him.
explain where you came from and Firefighter Flammati came from and when you first went over to John O'Keefe?
Sure.
With the court's permission, Ms. Gilman, if you could start that video. I think it is 6:11, please.
Let's watch that
Let's stop it
terrible
there.
dark
Do you see
video
that this
again.
exhibit has timestamp on the top?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please continue.
I know this try is going to be something else, man. We're going to be here all the time. Okay.
Could you
White
stop,
car.
please? Do you see the red lights on the left?
Yes, sir.
Is that when you believe that you first arrived?
Yes, sir.
And that note says 6:11:05. Could you continue, please, Ms. Gilman?
We can hear her saying Jen, Carrie, but we can't hear her saying I hit
Please
him.
watch to the left. Stop, please. Is that when you first arrived and walk over to help John O'Keefe?
Yes, sir. That's me.
I'll note that the timestamp is 6:11:21. Okay, continue, please. Stop, please. Did you
freaking
see
out.
Firefighter Flammati come after you?
Yes, sir.
Was any of this shown to you during those questions?
No, sir.
No. Continue, please.
No one inside woke up. Brian Albert's sleeping, right? The dog is sleeping. Everybody's sleeping. No one inside heard her screaming. No one inside heard anything.
Stop, please. Do you see the defendant in that screen?
Yes, sir.
Do you see her moving from right to left towards you?
Yeah, we see
Sustain this to
it.
the phone.
Okay. What direction do you see her running on that screen from right to left?
Bro,
She's
so
running towards where the three of us are grouped.
Okay, please continue.
don't testify. Don't say which direction. Okay, so which direction from right to left?
Stop, please. Is it at that time the defendant said to you that she hit him?
Yes, sir.
And you remember that?
I do.
I'm done with the tape. Thank you very much.
That's like Brennan's testifying though, because he should have said,
You were asked questions about
when
your...
did she say? Please point out to me during this video when the defendant said say I hit him. But Brennan's just like, oh, was it right here? Was it right here?
Memory?
Yes, sir.
When you were asked the questions about
He's so
Trooper
nervous.
Proctor, when you were saying that you didn't remember, you referring to the conversation with Trooper Proctor, or were you suggesting you didn't remember what happened that morning?
I don't remember the interview with Trooper Proctor. I
Not
remember
at
what happened.
all?
I don't remember the substance of what was discussed entirely. I remember we discussed that morning, but
Do you know if that
Oh.
conversation was recorded or just a conversation between you and the trooper?
I do not know if it was recorded.
You asked questions.
He's not
I
a trooper, by the way. He's not a trooper.
asked you about questions on Mr. O'Keefe, and you mentioned that there was some type of blood clotting on the back of his head.
Yes, sir.
You noticed there were abrasions on his right arm.
Yes, sir.
You noticed there was a hematoma on the right side of his head.
Yes, sir.
What?
Did you see any bruising on his right knee?
Don't recall, sir.
Did it stand out to you that all of his injuries, all of them that you saw, other than the cut on the back of the head, that they were all on his right side?
Yes, sir.
Did you notice any hematomas on his left side?
I did
What
not.
is a
Did you notice any scratches
hematoma?
or abrasions on?
What is a hematoma? Is he making up a word? Hematoma? Is a hematoma? What? Guys, come on, help me
his
out.
left
Is
side?
that
I did
a
not.
Did you
word?
notice any marks that would be
Hematoma?
consistent with an altercation on the left side of his body?
I did not.
You were asked about the cause, and you said that you don't know the cause. You weren't there, were you?
No, sir.
You asked if it was consistent with being punched, and you said it could be.
Yes, sir.
Could it be consistent with being clipped by a car?
Sustained is to the form.
Not a hematoma.
You were asked questions about clothing,
Yes, sir.
and you had at one point said you thought that Mr. O'Keefe was wearing a winter jacket. Do you have any memory that when you first got there, or when you first got there, do you have any memory whether there were any towels wrapped around Mr. O'Keefe's head?
I remember there was a white cloth of some sort on the scene.
Okay. And when you were asked about your memory regarding the clothing, was the clothing of what was utmost importance to you at that time?
No, sir.
And why is that?
I was, again, focused on Mr. O'Keefe's airway and ventilation.
Okay. And when you were asked about the clothing, do you remember if you added anything else about your certainty or uncertainty about clothing when you previously gave a statement or testimony?
I believe when I testified last year, I did note I had no part in removing any articles of clothing or anything like that. That was not my job in the back of the truck.
Do you remember any recognition of the fact whether you were certain or not about clothing?
Repeat the question, sir. I'm sorry.
Is there anything that refresh your memory about what you had said about clothing?
Ask a different question first.
You had mentioned that you had some difficulty about clothing. Do you remember what you had previously said?
He's
I
trying.
remember there was
He's trying to coach you to say this. Do you remember you said that those were the clothes, but you can't be sure? That's what he's trying to have you
Difficulty
say.
of getting the individual's fingers through clothing just because they were so cold. They were difficult to manipulate. Just they really was not conducive to getting clothing off easily.
He's like, forget it. You're not
You
going
met
to
with
say
me
what I
3
want.
times?
Yes, sir.
I had not met you before any of your prior testimonies, had I?
No, sir.
Do you remember meeting with me and discussing this case with me?
I do.
Do you remember me asking you to tell me what you remember?
I do.
Do you remember what I told you about testimony when you come into court?
Yes, sir.
What would I tell you?
I remember we discussed that just tell the truth.
Did I tell you that it doesn't matter? There is no side. Doesn't matter if it helps or hurts. That you just tell the truth.
Sustained.
Did I ever
Of
suggest
course,
to you
there
that you
is
should
a
stick to a
side.
story?
You're the state, and they're the defense. There are two sides.
No, sir.
Did I ever suggest to you you should offer your testimony in any certain way?
No, sir.
When I talked to you, did I ever ask you to say anything about your testimony to this jury?
No, sir.
Other than what?
Speak to the jury.
Did I need to tell you to tell the truth?
No, sir.
And in telling the truth, did the defendant say to you, I hit him, I hit him?
I'll allow it.
Yes, sir. 3 times.
And in fact, do
He
you
says
remember,
that
in
100 million
addition
times.
to her saying, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, when you asked her the question, nailing down over John O'Keefe's body, do you remember if you ever talked about other times that she said it, not to you?
I do not.
Okay.
The answer is I do not. Next question.
Okay. Do you remember testifying previously in this case?
Yes, sir.
So, is the jury allowed to know that there was a mistrial? Is that already like a given? Because they keep saying that. Oh, a year ago you testified. A year ago you testified. Right here in this court. Very nervous.
Do
Very,
you
very
remember
nervous.
at all discussing whether or not after she left you, whether or not the defendant was still talking and speaking?
I'm sorry, sir. Repeat the question.
Do you remember after the defendant left you and made that statement to you? Do you remember did you hear her speak to other people after you?
I heard her having conversations in the background, but that was not my focus at that time.
Okay. And during those conversations in the background, did you hear her talk
Okay.
about that same issue again?
I believe she said it several times, but the 3 times she said it to me were what stuck out to me.
Okay. And when she said it to other people, it wasn't directly to you?
No, sir.
So watch the form of the questions.
And when she said it to-
Hearsay, Mr.
When she said it to
Brenan.
other people, do you know who she said it to?
I do not.
I'll allow it. So the answer is I do not.
I'm sorry.
Do you
Pause for
remember if she said
hearsay.
other times who she said it to?
I want to see counsel at
Who
7.
she said it to. What do you mean? That calls for hearsay. Like, what is the exception? It's not offered for the truth of the matter. It is offered for the truth of the matter. Like, I don't understand. Cal, was she just saying it here, there, and everywhere? I don't know.
For this.
His testimony is not going well. There's so many inconsistencies. I wish that Alan wasn't so aggressive, though, that he was like nice and calm, you know. Oh, look who we have here. Yes, Paul, you better keep your poker face, because I'll be clipping your face for a video later if you don't keep your poker face. Be nice. Remember what I did to Brian Albert when he was listening to the closing statements. One of my most watched video is Brian Albert listening to the closing statements. Why are they okay? Let me fast forward this. Fast forward. Oh, what did she say? What did they say? All right, I'll fast forward. None of my business.
After Mr. Brenan asks you a few questions, now you remember her saying, I hit him a bunch more times. Correct?
I remember hearing it in the background several other times.
Really?
Sir,
Never mentioned that on direct examination, did you?
I don't remember being asked about it, sir. I remember saying what was asked to me.
You were asked, did you ever hear the defendant, Ms. Reed, say anything about I hit him? And your answer was, she said to me, in answer to my question, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him 3 times, and that's it.
To me.
You didn't clarify that, oh my gosh, she's running around like a chicken with her head cut off, screaming I hit him to everybody else under the sun.
It was behind me in the background
Right.
as I was providing patient care. Again, that was not my focus.
Okay, so you didn't really hear her say anything about it, because you weren't focused on it, right?
I remember hearing generalized commotion in the background, but again, that was not our focus.
So generalized commotion is very different than
I hit
hearing
him.
her say, I hit him to other people, correct? You'd agree with that?
Yes, sir.
So what you actually heard was the chaos and the commotion of a chaotic scene, correct? In the background,
In the background.
as you focused on your patient care, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, not specific words coming out of my client's mouth, correct?
To the question that I posed, do you know him?
You're right, we're off that question.
Okay.
That question, I got it.
Yes, sir.
Triple
He does not follow Alan Jackson's speed. Okay. The thought process is not on the same level. But anyways, Kelly, you're asking me, why do I wish Alan Jackson was nicer to this witness? Okay. Yeah, I said it a little bit in the beginning. I think that overall people like firefighters, and that this guy is a firefighter. You know, his father was a firefighter. He's a EMT. He's out there in the trenches, saving lives every day, putting his life at risk. And if he has all these inconsistent statements, and I'm a jury, and I don't want to be yelled at. I feel like Alan just started yelling at him from the beginning, just because he said that I hit him from the beginning of the cross. And Alan got really emotional and started like, you know, right now I think that Alan is doing the right thing, pressing him, because he has already showed that he had 6 inconsistencies during the testimony. So now he's being more aggressive. But before that, I thought it was like a little bit unnecessary. I don't know, just my opinion. I'm not sure how the jury is reading it.
hitters.
Correct.
But with regard to what Mr. Brenan just asked you, the generalized commotion, to use your phrase, in the background, you didn't hear any specific words coming out of my client's mouth, did you?
I heard I hit him. But again, it was in the background and it
Yeah.
was not my focus.
He's so
Why would you
nervous.
say that on direct? That's kind of an important point. That's why you're here.
Again, if it was neglected on my part, it was not intentional.
Not intentional to neglect that part for the jurors on direct examination.
No, sir.
Certainly not intentional to neglect that part of your testimony on cross-examination.
No, sir.
But you decided to bring it up on on re-cross-examination when Mr. Brenan is asking you questions again, correct?
It was asked of me.
And it was after, of course, that your new statement that you've never testified to before, ever, is this generalized commotion included a bunch of I hit hims in the background, correct?
Sir.
And that comes after you saw the video that clearly shows that when you described having heard this statement, my client was nowhere around you, correct?
That segment of the video that you showed me,
Yes.
that was not the time frame in which she said that to me.
Well, that was the time frame when Flamati was giving CPR, correct?
He was doing CPR down prior to that as well.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Well, you just testified that you saw him standing up in a big yellow jacket and then kneel down and start giving CPR. We just watched that video.
But again, the clip of the video that you showed me,
Right.
that was not the segment in which she said that to me.
Well, that's what you're saying now, but what I'm asking is, you described a very distinctive scene, a very, very specific scene.
Yes, sir. I remember it vividly.
She said, the I hit him phrase when Lonnie was down giving CPR and you were kneeling down giving airway support and he was doing rhythmic CPR chest compression.
Yes, sir. That's what happened.
And then I showed you that very scene, didn't I?
Yes, you showed me that clip prior to that.
I showed you the very scene that you described where Flamani gets down and starts chest compressions and never stops until the gurney is taken off the frame of the camera. Isn't that what I showed you?
That is
So
Sure.
so confusing. Okay. This is so confusing. And Alan is getting so frustrated. Okay. I think that Alan is saying, we saw Flamati come in. We saw him start chest compressions. We saw him get on his knees. You said, Karen said, I hit him when he was on his knees. You were on his knees. We didn't see that because she was over there. Okay. You guys are over here doing the chest compressions. Then we saw them get up, put him in the stretcher, and then that's it. Like we didn't see Karen approach you. And Timothy's saying, yes, but she said it before that. And then Alan's like, really? Because Alan is stuck on the fact that he testified that they were both on their knees. And apparently we have all that footage. So I don't know.
I showed you the scene where firefighter
Let's see if they clarify.
Begins chest compressions and never stops until that gurney is taken off camera, off frame, into the ambulance. That's the clip I showed you, correct?
That's the clip you showed me.
And that's exactly when you described your vivid memory from 3.5 years ago. That's exactly the scene that you described when my client supposedly said, I hit him to you, correct?
Again, the clip that you showed me, that was not when it was said. That segment that you showed, that was not when it was said. It was said prior to that, when the three of us were together.
So Flamati was not giving chest compressions then?
He was. The CPR was a continuous effort throughout the resuscitation.
But we saw him start it. Officer, Firefighter Nuttall, we saw him start it. We saw him walk into the frame, kneel down, and begin the chest compressions, didn't we?
We did.
And at no point, at that time or after, did my client even approach you, did she, in that clip?
She did.
What?
Objection.
What? I can't talk to the witness like that.
Sure.
What? That's crazy, dude. What are you talking about?
Do you need to see the that clip again?
Yes, please.
We're not going to show the video.
No, we're
okay?
not doing it.
We've
We're
seen
not
two
doing it.
videos. Which one is marked?
The
The one
Commonwealth.
with the timestamp at
Right.
the top?
It's the exact same.
So here is another thing because Alan just asked Timothy, did we see Flamati start compressions? Yes. So if we saw him start and we saw him then put the body on the stretcher, when did she say that? Prior to that. But then I'm so confused.
Same video. One has timestamp, one doesn't.
Why not? Why doesn't it have a timestamp?
Just to be clear, you described a very detailed scene in which firefighter Flamati got down on the ground on his knees and began CPR.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We saw a clip that it played fully through. Starts and stops, but it played fully through, correct?
Yes, sir.
That was true and accurate video of what happened that day,
Yes, sir.
that morning, correct?
Correct.
And from the time firefighter Flamati began his CPR,
He began.
he never stopped.
He
Went all
stopped.
the way through until the gurney was taken off the camera, correct?
Correct.
You also described very clearly before you saw the video that the time when Michael and I walked over and you had this dialogue, you heard this statement. It was during the time that firefighter Flamati was given CPR, correct? You described it.
Yes, sir.
But when we actually see firefighter Flamati giving the CPR, as per your description, at no time did my client walk over and have a conversation with you, did she?
She did in the video.
In the portion that Mr. Brenan played you, was firefighter Flamati giving CPR at that point?
As I said previously,
Was he or was he not? Yes or no?
Objection.
I'm going to let the witness answer the question.
Firefighters Kelly and Flamati were trading off CPR. Tony started doing CPR, and it was passed off at one point to Firefighter Kelly. Firefighter Kelly at that time was a BLS EMT. Firefighter Flamati was a paramedic. They're going to move towards Firefighter Kelly performing CPR because at that time his skill set was not as advanced as Firefighter Flamati's, as Tony's. But they did switch off. That is
Sounds
a
like
routine
a lot of
cardiac arrest. We switch off
information
compressions.
that is
The
not
video
the
that Mr.
question.
Brenan showed you was earlier in time, a few seconds or a minute or two earlier.
Yes, sir.
You'd agree with that, correct?
I would.
And firefighter Flamati had not begun CPR, had he?
I don't believe so.
That's right, he hadn't. But
Oh.
that's the time that my client walked over your general area, correct?
Correct.
Before CPR was started, correct?
CPR started immediately, sir.
Can we wrap this up?
I don't know if we can, Judge.
Give you a couple more minutes.
I'm so frustrated.
Do you understand the confusion?
Everybody's frustrated.
Sustained.
All right, a couple more questions on this.
He's so frustrated. He's like, I don't understand. I already explained it a million times. Why can't you understand it? And Alan's like, I can't understand it. How can you not understand the confusion?
The video that Mr. Brenan showed you,
Yes, sir.
and you pointed to and said, oh, that's the time when she walked over and said the statement.
Yes, sir.
Remember that?
I do.
Firefighter Flamati was not
On
even
his knees.
kneeling down giving CPR, was he at that point?
No,
The answer is yes or no?
No.
Okay. he was
Okay.
not.
Okay.
Later, as the video continues to run, at some point, we see Firefighter Flamati enter the screen, kneel down in that bright, reflective yellow jacket, and begin CPR, correct?
Yes, sir.
You had previously said that
Okay.
when you heard the statement and she walked over to you, it was when Firefighter Flamati was giving CPR, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at no point, you'll agree with me, you displayed the video, at no point after he started giving CPR did my client come anywhere near you. Isn't that what the video showed?
That was the segment that you showed me.
Okay, so all he had to say, if the witness, all he had to say was, I meant around the time she was they were doing CPR, not exactly the time, because I mean he's being impeached, right?
Indicated on redirect, that Mr. O'Keefe did not have any injuries to the left side of his body.
Not that I recall.
Okay, that's another
Is it true
impeachment
that
then.
in addition to the egg on the right side of his head, he also had a black eye on the left side?
I remember that the swelling had started to, it's referred to kind of as raccoon eyes. It's a bruising of both eyes.
Do you remember
battle
saying-
signs.
Do you remember saying, in answer to the question, did it look like, in addition to the egg on the right side of his head in the front, did he also have a black eye on the left side? Your answer is, if memory serves correct, yes.
Yes, sir.
So it's not true that he didn't have any injuries on the left side of his body or face, correct?
That swelling kind of migrates over time to both sides. That is a common
So he
occurrence for both
had
eyes to be
it
swollen.
on both
Did he
sides.
have an injury to the left side of his face?
He did not.
Did he have a black left eye?
Yes, he did.
Would you consider a black eye an injury?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you the question
So
again.
you
then.
just lied
Did he have an
again.
injury to the left side of his face?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Timothy, my friend, buddy, I was like rooting for you. But you keep being consistent. I know, I mean, it must be nerve-wracking to have Alan Jackson yell at you the whole time. But he's just like, is there a bruise there? No. Do you
One last
consider
question.
purple
You,
eye bruise?
indicated
Yes.
That it was a chaotic scene outside on that front yard.
Yes, sir.
Fire engines, ambulances, patrol vehicles, engines running, diesel engines, flashing lights, people screaming, people talking over the howling wind, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever see the homeowner come out the front door?
Brian
Don't
Albert.
recall.
You don't recall, or you didn't?
I have no idea who the homeowner is.
And you never saw anybody?
Really? I
No, sir.
find that hard to believe, sir.
One issue, briefly.
I find that hard to believe
Where's
that you don't know
Councilman
who
Tybar?
Brian Albert is. After all this time, all the news, all the things, he even says I was famous for this or for that word.
Yes, sir.
Of course you
I
know
do.
who it is.
Anything, Mr. Jackson?
Yeah, just a second, Your Honor.
Just a second, Your Honor, and then they never end. They never end. We're almost done.
I'm sorry.
Chop, chop, Alan. I don't want to fast forward because I'm going to lose the place.
Thank you, Your Honor. If I may? Yes, just a quick question, Firefighter Nuttall. When you were
Yes,
asked
he's
to
like getting out of
recite
his own
your
skin.
memory of that day on February 8th, 2022, just 10 days after this incident, did you ever say that you heard in the background, I hit him over and over again?
I don't recall.
All right.
When you testified at the grand jury, last question. When you testified at the grand jury,
Last
you ever say that?
question.
I don't recall.
but again, your memory's better now.
Another
than it was
question.
then, right?
Yes, sir.
Memory's better now. Yes, sir. Okay, that was not good at all
All
for
right, your next witness, Mr. Brennan?
Thank you. The call
Michelle.
calls.
Timothy's is like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm done. You guys leave me alone. Like, forget that I exist. I don't ever want to testify again for this trial. So, okay. So what are the final thoughts? Final thoughts. What did you guys think about the opening statement? Because I didn't cover the opening statement. I'm gonna cover on a different video. So again, Timothy Nuttall, I think that it went really well for the defense. I think they did a great job at impeaching him with the facts. They definitely impeached him with the facts, with the winter coat, with the inconsistencies of his statements. You know, he says one thing and 1 second later he has to say he was wrong, you know. And that's not good. And I think he was extremely nervous, and Alan Jackson's yelling at him, being extremely aggressive, which helped Alan get the response that he wanted, which was for him to just be inconsistent the whole time. I do, anyways, I did think he was a little aggressive at the beginning, the guy being a firefighter and all. I understand his aggression now. Now, Kelly's saying the opening statement, it was good. The new evidence in the opening statement is cool. Yes, but I wasn't a fan of the Karen Reed statements there. I thought that was really damning for her. It doesn't look good, for me. What did you think about that? Because were you able to like put it aside once Alan explained? Because Alan was like, "Oh, that was out of context." I don't know. I thought it was not good that she said that. If you have the right to remain silent. One of my favorite YouTubers is Bruce Rivers, right? I love watching his videos. And I want to buy his hat that says stop self-snitching. Stop self-snitching, because most of the people that go to prison and that get in trouble is because of stuff they say. They are self-snitching. Don't self-snitch. And Karen is like, let me give an interview here. Let me give an interview there. I understand she's under a lot of pressure. She wants to tell her side of the story, but everything will be put out, out of context. Everything will be used against you. That's in the Miranda. It's going to be used against you. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for watching after crew, because I know I didn't plan this live, and I just wanted to record it and put it out there because I know we're going to have a lot of witnesses to go over, and I don't want to be like behind, because I'm already now going to work on the Carrie Roberts video. But we're going to have a lot of body language and behavior analysis to do during this trial. We're going to have some fun. And I am so happy to be back with the Karen Reed trial. Thank you guys for being on the chat as well. Kelly, Cal, have a great day, great evening. Yeah, she can talk after it's over. That's right. She can talk after it's over. She can say whatever she wants. But this last documentary she did that was just released a month or two ago, that has a lot of stuff they're going to use against her. Her saying how much she drank, this, that, or she's going to have to testify. I mean, I don't know. But anyways, see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Let's stay focused on the trial, and I'll probably be live tomorrow with Carrie Roberts and whoever else they call. So have a great evening, everybody, and God bless. Thank you for watching, guys. BiancaMMM, your go-to place for mind meditation and motivation to elevate your life and keep you entertained. I'm passionate about exploring the human mind and psychology. And here, we dive into court proceedings, body language analysis, and sprinkle in a bit of humor along the way. You will also find content to boost your personal growth, physically and mentally, featuring quick meditation techniques and uplifting messages to kickstart your day. Your support means the world to me. Until next time, take care and stay positive.